Aisha Rahman had spent most of her life fighting against hardship. After losing her father at a young age, she worked tirelessly to support her mother and younger brother. Every day felt like a battle, but she never complained. She believed that kindness and patience would eventually bring happiness into her life. One rainy evening, while leaving the small cafe where she worked, her life changed forever. A black luxury car stopped beside her, and a well-dressed man stepped out. His name was Zayan Malik, one of the youngest billionaires in the country. His business empire stretched across cities, and his name appeared in magazines every week. Yet behind his success was a lonely man carrying a painful secret. Zayan looked directly into Aisha's eyes and made an unbelievable offer. "Marry me for 6 months, then leave. In return, I'll make sure your family never struggles again." Aisha thought it was some kind of joke, but Zayan was serious. He explained that his grandfather's final wish was to see him married before an important family inheritance could be transferred. The marriage would only be temporary, and after 6 months, they would quietly separate. Desperate to save her family from debt and believing there would be no emotional attachment, Aisha reluctantly agreed. Days later, they signed the contract and held a private wedding ceremony. The media celebrated it as the wedding of the year, but nobody knew the truth hidden behind their smiles. During the first weeks of marriage, they lived like strangers. Zayan spent most of his time working, while Aisha tried to stay out of his way. The mansion felt cold and empty despite its beauty. However, as time passed, small moments began changing everything. One night, Aisha noticed Zayan working late and quietly brought him coffee. Another day, Zayan discovered that Aisha secretly paid for medical treatment for one of the mansion's elderly employees. Slowly, the walls around their hearts started breaking. Aisha learned that Zayan's father had abandoned the family when he was young, leaving him with deep trust issues. Zayan learned that Aisha carried endless responsibilities yet still found reasons to smile. They began having dinner together, sharing stories, and laughing at things that once seemed impossible. For the first time in years, Zayan felt peace when he was around someone. For the first time in her life, Aisha felt protected. As the months passed, their fake marriage became something neither expected. Zayan started canceling business trips just to spend time with her. Aisha found herself waiting for his return whenever he was away. Yet neither dared to admit the truth because the contract remained hanging over them like a shadow. Then trouble arrived. Zayan's ruthless business rival, Kamran Sheikh, discovered the marriage agreement and planned to expose it publicly. If the truth came out, Zayan could lose his inheritance, damage his company's reputation, and destroy everything he had built. Kamran demanded millions of dollars to keep silent. When Aisha learned about the threat, she felt responsible. She believed she was the reason Zayan's future was at risk. As day 179 approached, she made a heartbreaking decision. Without telling anyone, she packed her belongings and prepared divorce papers. She convinced herself that leaving would protect Zayan from scandal. That evening, she placed the documents on his desk and quietly walked toward the mansion gate. But before she could leave, Zayan's voice stopped her. He had found the papers. His eyes were filled with pain she had never seen before. "Is this really what you want?" he asked. Tears filled Aisha's eyes as she struggled to answer. "I'm doing this for you," she whispered. "Your life will be easier without me." For a moment, silence covered the night. Then Zayan walked closer and said something that changed everything. "6 months ago, I asked you to marry me and leave. But somewhere along the way, you became the most important person in my life. I don't want the contract anymore. I don't care about the inheritance. I don't care about the scandal. I just want you to stay." Hearing those words shattered the walls around Aisha's heart. She admitted that she had fallen in love with him too and that leaving was the hardest thing she had ever tried to do. They embraced as tears rolled down their faces. The next morning, instead of hiding the truth, Zayan held a press conference. Standing beside Aisha, he openly admitted that their marriage had started with an agreement but had become real through love and trust. To everyone's surprise, the public admired their honesty. Even his grandfather, after learning the full story, smiled and declared that genuine love was worth more than any contract. Kamran's plan failed completely, and his attempt at blackmail was exposed. Months later, Zayan and Aisha renewed their vows in a beautiful ceremony surrounded by family and friends. This time there were no contracts, no conditions, and no expiration dates. Their love had survived fear, sacrifice, and uncertainty. A year later, their home was filled with laughter, happiness, and hope. Aisha's mother received the best medical care, her brother graduated from university, and Zion finally found the family he had always dreamed of having. Looking at the life they had built together, Aisha remembered the day a billionaire asked her to marry him for 6 months and then leave. Neither of them could have imagined that the temporary arrangement would become a lifetime of love. Their story proved that sometimes the most unexpected beginnings lead to the happiest endings, and that true love is not found in contracts, wealth, or status. It is found in loyalty, sacrifice, and the courage to stay when walking away seems easier. And as they watched the sunset together, hand in hand, they knew their greatest happiness was not the mansion, the money, or the success. Their greatest happiness was finding each other. The end. If you enjoyed this heartwarming story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with your friends for more emotional and inspiring stories.